What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the King Films College Football Playoff Predictions. And after a wild week in college football, let's get right into our custom top 25 rankings. Coming in at the 25 spot, we've got Western Michigan, who's a new team to the rankings after their great win over San Jose State. They were dominant. They also have a win over Pitt on the season. An honorable mention team before we get into the others is Rutgers, who played a great game against Michigan. They have a win over Syracuse and a couple other great wins this season. And they're a good football team, but I just had to leave them off. Only 25 spots on this ranking, so honorable mention to the Rutgers. We'll be watching them in the weeks to come. Number 24 and 23, we've got two ACC teams, and that's the most they've had for a while here. Of course, they lost Clemson after their brutal loss to NC State, which we'll see here. But first, we've got Louisville, who took care of FSU, and they have some wins over UCF, and then the loss to Ole Miss, where they were able to battle back a little bit, but that one ultimately was kind of a blowout there. 23, NC State, whose only loss is to a good Mississippi State team who just keeps it close with many opponents that they face. NC State is a great team, obviously. They blew out South Florida, and then they have that win over Clemson at home, and that's going to be their signature win so far. Number 22, Maryland's up a couple spots after beating Kent State. And then we've got Oklahoma State, another new team to the rankings. This team's 4-0. They were a bit fluky, but they did get it done against what we had ranked as 25K State last week. And Oklahoma State, obviously, they have that win. They've beat Boise State. So this is an Oklahoma State team that should probably have a loss under their belt right now, but they don't. Obviously, they were close with Tulsa, but they've managed to be unscathed so far. I'm going to have them only at 21, and a big week for them this week as they play Baylor at home. And then for Maryland, too, we'll talk about their matchup with Iowa later. At number 20, we've got Oklahoma down 5 spots after another close victory over West Virginia. You had the fans booing Spencer Rattler, asking for the backup. I don't think that would be a wise decision, but this Oklahoma team just is not that good, and they'll fall 5 spots. But they, again, like Oklahoma State, they probably should have a loss, but they don't, so they'll continue to be ranked until they do. Number 19, we've got UCLA. They beat Stanford. Number 18, Texas A&M rises a spot after playing decently close with a good Arkansas team in my eyes. Of course, if you want to check out the other videos, the locks, we called that Arkansas moneyline pick from a mile away, and we hit that one right on the head. So we'll be back with the betting locks this week, and be sure to check those out. Number 17, we have Ohio State. Not much movement for them after a throwaway game against Akron. And let's move into the middle 8, where we've got number 16, Fresno State, down a couple spots after a close game with a horrible UNLV team that lost to an FCS team. And then we've got number 15, Baylor, off that impressive victory over Iowa State. It was at home, and they'll have a test to see if they're legit or not against Oklahoma State. And at number 14, we've got Michigan State, who is down a couple spots after their close game to Nebraska. Obviously, Oklahoma played Nebraska close, but I just don't think Nebraska is that good of a team, so I'm going to have to put Michigan State down a couple spots this week. BYU goes up by virtue of their win over South Florida, and Michigan State falling below them. Notre Dame goes up big after their win over a Wisconsin team that really just doesn't have much on the resume right now. Obviously, that's Notre Dame's key victory, but really, I don't have any faith in this team, or Cincinnati for that matter, until this game. Cincinnati will just skip to them right now. They are at 9 after an idle week, so we'll see what happens in that blockbuster game this week. Then we've got Iowa against Maryland, and Iowa fell down 6 spots. They played close with Colorado State, which I did not like at all. And then it came out that Iowa's wins are not actually that good. Obviously, Indiana was supposed to be one of the big ones. That was a ranked team when they played them in the first week, but Indiana's fallen off as of late. And then Iowa State has also fallen off, losing to Baylor. So obviously we've got to give Baylor the same benefit of the doubt we did with Iowa, but Iowa really hasn't beaten anyone and I think Maryland will be able to keep it close. The spread is pretty close, so I think that one's fair there. I think Iowa should be 11 and not really any higher until they can prove it, maybe with a good win against Maryland this week. Then at number 10, we've got Texas up 10 spots. Obviously, this quarterback change has worked out well for them, as I've said from the beginning. Casey Thompson is the better quarterback there. I knew it from the beginning, and obviously their only blemish is that blowout loss to Arkansas, but they had a dominant win, scoring 70 points against Texas Tech. Obviously, that's not the best defense there, but let's get into the top 8 with some blockbuster games up here. First, we've got Ole Miss, and they are playing Alabama this week in what sets up to be a great match. Obviously, Ole Miss is coming off the bye week, and pretty much so is Alabama as well after their cupcake game. Then we've got Penn State at number 7. They're down 4 spots, and by no doing of their own, it just came out that the teams they'd beaten so far are not really that good, so I had to shuffle the rankings due to that fact. So Penn State down to 7. They haven't looked shaky in any of their wins, unlike Iowa. That's why Iowa was punished a lot more, but obviously Auburn playing close with Georgia State does not help Penn State's case. Obviously, Auburn was punished and fell out of the rankings for that game. Then we've got number 6, Michigan, who has been off to a torrid start so far, getting another key victory over a Rutgers team that is very good, and again, I almost considered ranking them this week because of that. Then we've got Oregon idle at number 5, and then Florida stays at number 4 after their win over the Volunteers. We've got Arkansas up to 3. This is some big movement here after their win over Texas A&M. Validates them further. Obviously, I value Texas as well, and that's a good win. So I think by resume, Arkansas fits with Georgia and Alabama as one of the best, and we'll see who truly is better here, Arkansas or Georgia, in the 3-2 matchup in my book. And we've got Alabama playing Ole Miss, obviously. So there should be some great matchups this week for college football playoff implications. And let's take a look at the New Year's Six Bowl predictions. Obviously, we've got the Cotton Bowl, Georgia against Michigan. You know, these SEC teams are going to play each other, and someone's got to lose. So obviously, Arkansas or Georgia would lose this week. Georgia plays Florida. There's the SEC championship. So in the Orange Bowl, we've got Alabama against Oregon, and then we've got Georgia against Michigan. Fiesta Bowl, we've got Arkansas against Iowa. That was a change this week. Rose Bowl is now Penn State against UCLA. Penn State replaces Iowa. Then we've got Texas against Florida in the Sugar Bowl, and the Contract Bowl. The Peach Bowl, we've got Cincinnati against NC State. Thank you for watching. Please be sure to like and subscribe and comment your predictions below.